let's hear these ad-libs. We don't have the Pro MB on the ad-libs. What else are we doing different on the ad-libs? Anything? No, that's like, well, the EQ is a little bit different on the ad-libs. We took out a little more of the lows so that they live in a different space. And then actually we just said, this was probably a later change as well, where we just said, no, let's just make them telephone ad-libs. And so that's just a telephone effect. Let's hear them.
Pop, pop. But it's our shit.
So yeah, you can hear it's bright. It sounds like a radio. This little pop pop here, I've got some pan automation. So I'm taking the right side and moving it to the left, and then the left side and moving it to the right. So here the first one is in your left ear. The second one is in your right ear. I'll play it back again.
Pop, pop.
So that was just a creative choice that I made. All right, moving on. We've got our ad-libs done. Let's hear what else. There's a couple other ad-lib tracks. Let's hear this one. That's right, we already went through that one. Just a format shifted, high frequency. It's got some of the plate reverb and some long delay on it, so you'll hear a little bit of an echo. So that's just running to our long delay down here. Where are we at? The long delay, what's on it? A quarter note delay. The little lo-fi button, which I love, that basically cuts out everything above 6K. And then we're making it stereo, so it doesn't sort of land on top. And then we're actually sending to the A reverb, which is our large hall, which is a Valhalla vintage verb. Okay. So, moving on. What do we have here? There's one more final ad-lib-ish sound. Let's hear what that's doing.
They don't know us today,
So that's like right at the end of the song. It's just like sort of a harmony. Let's hear how it matches with the lead.
Did I play? They gon' know us today,
So it's just a harmony. That's all it is. And we're just sending it to the A reverb, the large hall. And that's just so that it has a different reverb from the lead. They live in different spaces a little bit. This is more reverbed out, longer tail, warmer reverb, not as bright either. We have 4 vocoder tracks, and there is some automation on the bus for this. Let me just zoom into that real quick. So there's just certain lines that poked out more than others, and so we're just lowering those lines or raising the other ones. Either way, just leveling them out. Nothing too complex. Let's hear what these vocoders are doing. Let's solo them. You know what I'll do? I'll solo one at a time and we'll build it.
I can't even close my eyes, and I don't know, I guess I don't like surprises. I can't even stay away from the game that I play. They gon' know us today.
So 4 different vocoders. They're all doing something different. Let me play like maybe half a bar of each.
I can't even close my eyes. I can't even close my eyes. I can't even close my eyes, and I don't know. I can't even close my eyes, and I don't know.
So each one has its own unique characteristics, and then blended together, they sound pretty cool. Okay, what are we doing on those? Well, each one has this ambient orbit on it, and what we're doing. This was actually something really cool that I did, that initially in the mix, I had it was way more obvious, and then we sort of tamed it down a bit. But you'll notice the automation on this is staggered. So we're just going to look at this first one, and you'll see this spin around, and this represents the automation. So let's hear it.
I can't even close my eyes, and I don't know, I guess I don't like surprises. I can't even stay away from the game that I play. They gon' know us today.
Now, if you're listening in speakers, you're not going to hear that in a too obvious of a way. It's just going to sound like it's panning left and right a bit. But put headphones on and then listen to that again. Go back and listen to that section again, and you'll hear it actually wraps around your head. So what I did with this is, if I had all of the automation lined up perfectly, it would be way too obvious and might be too in your face for this section. But what I did is I staggered them each a bar, right? So each one is sort of staggered a bar over, like that's one bar, and then that's another bar to the next one. That's another bar to the next one. And they're each staggered a bar until they go back, which basically means if you're looking at this, those 4 tracks at any given time, one is at the left side, one is in the front, one is in the right, and one is in the back. So they're completely wrapped around your head, but then they're all spinning around the head. So it's not too obvious, but you do feel like you're almost like you're surrounded by people singing and you're just spinning your chair, kind of. So you're getting different frequencies at different moments in different parts of your in your ear. And this was the first time I'd ever tried this technique. It turned out really cool. So what I'll do is, now that you know what's happening, let me solo them and then put your headphones on and listen to this section in headphones. And you tell me if you can hear what's going on. Just, leave me a comment about it in the description or in the comment boxes below. All right, here we go.
I can't even close my eyes, and I don't know, I guess I don't like surprises. I can't even stay away from the game that I play. They gon' know us today.
Kind of cool, right? So I thought so. Anyways, that was my little moment that I really that was just sort of me just flexing a little bit of creativity. Okay. So that's what the vocoder's doing. How are we processing it? A little bit of EQ. We're boosting just around 5K, 4900 hertz. But see this little S? It's like a blue curve. We're just boosting the sides, none of the mids, just the sides. Okay. Then we are doing some basically de-essing. This is a Pro MB. We're basically just de-essing it. I don't know why I use a Pro MB. Sometimes I just randomly want to use different plugins instead of a proper de-esser. But this is basically just de-essing at whatever, 4.5K. Okay. Then we have a little bit of compression, and we're doing some stereo imaging with my plugin Spread. And we're just boosting the highs. We're spreading the highs more than the mids, and the mids a little more than the lows. So it sort of fans out. The lower frequencies, they're still spread out, they're wide, but gradually as the frequency spectrum gets higher, those sections sort of open up. So that is using Spread. And let's take everything off, solo it one more time, and then about a bar in, I'll add everything just so we can hear what it's doing.
I can't even close my eyes, and I don't know, I guess I don't like surprises. I can't even stay away from the game that I play. They gon' know us today.
And there's a little bit of B reverb. So what's that doing? It's tightening it up. It's making it a little bit brighter. It's smoothing out the top a bit. So good stuff there. All right. What else do we have? All right, we have these hook background tracks, and let's just hear what they're doing.
I got hoes on hoes and they out of control, yeah.
And then let's hear this section here.
I can't even close my eyes, and I don't know why, I guess I don't like surprises.
So this is just a hard pan left and right, and then on these like sort of call and response things, the response is in a much lower tone, lower frequency. And what are we doing to those? We're actually boosting a little bit more of the lows there. There's a bit of auto-tune on, and the retune speed is set to 0. So it's meant to sound like very robotic. So let's hear those again.
Close my eyes.
So you can hear really tight, really robotic. And then again, this is just sort of doubling the lead vocal. And we have one to the left, one to the right, and then you have the lead vocal right in the center. And that's just a simple technique to make your hook stand out. And what are we doing on the processing? Same as before, a de-esser. We're using a different EQ this time, but some compression, some EQ. We're rolling off some of the lows. Then we have an RVox, which is just a second compressor. And then we're doing some stereo imaging stuff here and some high frequency boosting. And then we have another de-esser. I use multiple de-essers all the time. It's sort of a common thing. And then we are boosting some highs, but there was some, annoying frequencies that we're poking out. So we're cutting the annoying ones out, but we're boosting everything around the annoying ones there. So let's see what that does. Let's just take everything off and add them all back.
I can't even close my eyes. And I don't know why, guess I don't like surprises. I can't even stay away from the game that I...
So just brings it all to life and smooths out those vocals and makes them stand out and feel sort of polished and finished. Okay, moving on. Nothing too complex to see there. Let's hear what some of these backgrounds are doing.
Hey, it's another one.
So these are just some harmonies. Let's hear what they are doing in context.
Hey, this another way. All my niggas on go, and I hope that you know it.
So there's just some harmonies. Let's add let's hear them first.
Hey, this another one.
And then the two at the bottom here below it.
Hey, this another one.
Oh, let's mute these. They're a little bit louder.
Hey, it's another way.
So that's a lower harmony. I think that's just copying the lead. Sounds like it's just duplicating the lead. And then we have this harmony. I don't know what it is, maybe a fifth or something there.
Hey, it's another one.
Then what is this harmony doing?
Hope that you know it.
So yeah, again, just a little harmony thing to sort of add a little more depth to some of these melodies. And processing, a bit of de-essing, standard lead vocal stuff. Again, EQ, bit of compression, and some, frequency enhancement at the top and bottom. And as far as effects, we have the B reverb, which is a plate again. We have the the long delay, which is just a quarter note with some reverb on it. And then just some slap delay and doubling. The slap delay is probably around like 50 milliseconds, like maybe like 45 on one side and 55 on the other, or maybe 55 and 65. And then the doubler is like much shorter. It's like probably 10 milliseconds and 20 milliseconds or something around that nature. We can actually just quickly check. Let's see. Doubler. Oh, look at how close I am. All right, so 7 milliseconds on the left, 20 milliseconds on the right. And the slap is, 65, 66 milliseconds on the left and 57 milliseconds on the right. So, nothing too crazy there. Just adding a little bit of sort of filling in the sides a bit, and just sort of reinforcing the vocal. Usually I go subtle with that stuff. Okay, what else do we have? We have this Sky ad-lib. This was somebody who was working on the track with them. What are we doing to it?
Hey, it's a holiday.
Okay, so what does that have on it? Well, that's got my plugin, The Sauce. What am I doing? Just format shifting down. Why, though? Let's hear it.
Hey, it's a holiday.
So the reason I did that is because that vocal by itself didn't blend well with Nas. Nas has a pretty deep voice, and so format shifting it down just helped it blend in with Nas's voice a bit more. So let's hear if we can hear what that's doing. I'll play all the backgrounds.
Hey, it's a holiday. Hey, it's a holiday.
See, if I take that off, it kind of pokes out too much, and I didn't really like it. So we just format shift that down, and now it blends with Nas a bit more. Then we have this bus. Jenna did some vocals. Let's hear those.
Hey, it's a holiday.
So this is a big stack with some harmonies, and sounds like she's far away from the mic. But you'll also notice a bit sort of muffled. That's because I have the sauce on that as well, and also format shifting down again to blend better with Nas's voice. And I'm also adding a bit of a room tone reverb. So we'll take the sauce off. Everything else is, again, just simple. I don't want to go through this every time, but just this is my vocal chain that I like. Everything is adjusted for the vocal, of course. But the only thing really different about this is the sauce. So we've got the sauce off now. It's bypassed. Let's hear it.
Hey, it's a holiday.
Now with.
Hey, it's a holiday.
That blends a lot better with Nas. It's some of the high frequencies are taken out because we format shifted it down. Also, we've put some space in it. We've put it in a room. So it's sort of like accentuates that sort of that it's far from the mic sort of sound. All right, so that's what we're doing there. What else do we have? We have a couple like verse add like doubles and stuff. Let's hear what they're doing.
Hey, pop shit, but I top shit. Do a rocket.
Okay, so that's just like doubles. Again, hard panned left, hard panned right, and again, similar vocal effects, right? Standard stuff. Okay, moving on. What do we have? In verse 2, we have some other ones. Are they just doing the same thing? Let's just see.
Came in on a horse. I got no remorse.
Yeah, basically same thing. Let's hear what these last two are doing at the end.
They try to next me, but I'm blessed. No flex, but my checks giving veterans. And I'm sexy. They wanna sex me.
So this is like a high harmony, high octave, and Nas is singing that like in a much sort of more aggressive way, and I love that. This harmony, I don't think it's a harmony. This background vocal is really important to lifting that second verse. And remember, I talked to you guys earlier about this. You know, you want songs to grow as they move. This is a great example of how do we make that second verse have a lift.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, because everything else is just auto-tune. Yeah, we're boosting the lows crazy, like 8 dB. And you'll notice like all of them are edited. Now you're not going to see it on these, but I'll just show you. Like if I take these, if I unfreeze these, so all of them are edited perfectly so that they begin and end exactly on the one, right? Or well, they begin all exactly on the one. So these were all nudged around to all hit perfectly, and that's why it sounds so great when it's full. All right, so why don't we just go through and hear what each layer is doing? They're all panned hard left and right, so you know each one is in twos basically. So this is a left and a right, a left and a right, and then
dun dun dun.
Right, really punchy. I wanted that to be really punchy, and you hear it. Now let's hear these lows.
Dun dun dun.
Man, he can get real low with his voice, and then we push that up a lot, and that's how you get that really full dun dun dun. Let's just see what happens if we take that off. How much it changes it.
Dun dun dun.
Now with it.
Dun dun dun.
Like it's almost like an instrument. There's so much bass in it.
Dun, dun, dun.
So that's Jenna as well. She's just sort of humming the notes, and there's a harmony there. So that's all. Let's hear those harmonies together. And now we add Nas. Now Nas's main ones. There you go. That's how we get the dun dun dun. Seems simple because I had it as just one track, but actually there was a ton of work that went into getting that to sound the way that it did.
Dun, dun, dun.
Love it though. Okay, moving on. We have these A's.
Hey, hey.
So we just got some reverb on them, some long delay, and some slap delay and doubling. Nothing too crazy there. Okay, let's just hear what the A's are doing. Here's the first one. Here's the second one.
Hey.
That one's panned left. This one's panned right.
Hey.
So we have a center and a left and right, all the same note.
Hey. Hey.
Now let's hear what these ones are doing.
Hey.
So we actually have 5.
Hey. Hey, but I'm
messing up here. So these first 5 are all the same. 2 are panned left, 2 are panned right, 1's panned center.
Hey.
And then these are all lows. I suspect these 5 are all the same.
Hey. Hey.
So real simple. We have a high and a low octave, and both have 5. 2 left, 2 right, 1 center. 2 left, 2 right, 1 center. All right, cool. Simple. And again, what effects am I putting on it? Same normal vocal effects, but we have a retro color on it with the sad piano preset, which is just adding a little bit of like, there's some filtering, it's wobbling a bit. There is some reverb on it. And that's what's giving us the most of the space there. It's actually that more than it is this reverb. Well, it's both, but let's take retro color off and hear what that was doing. Actually, a lot. So it sounds sort of like old school kind of, and it's in the back. We don't want it to fight with the lead vocal, so that's why we do that. We filter it out, we put a bunch of reverb on it, and then it lives in its own world and it's not going to fight with your lead vocal in any way. Okay, cool. Let's hear what this perk sound is doing. And again, you'll notice no effects on it. So there is some automation in this that was sent to me at part of the file. And you'll hear this is the left and right. And it's sort of panning from left. This, you know, the top track here is left. The bottom one here is right. So the left is a little louder and then the right is a little louder and then left. So it's doing some interesting panning stuff. But that was sent from the producer. And this is just sort of like a vocal mouth sound, like a wind sound, you could call it maybe. We have this ha sound. Again, no plugins on it. Let's hear it. And again, it's panning a little bit left and right. Again, came from the producers. And then we have this little rise sound here. Sort of a reverb kick drum that's in reverse. So we'll hear it one more time. There we go. What are we doing to it? Just filtering it out a bit. Let's hear it without any filter on it. A little bit brighter. So we're taking just a bit of the low and a bit of the high off. Probably just to get it sit in the mix a little better. It's called DAW, but it's yeah, it's got some delay on it. It's one sound and it's got a ping pong delay. So that delay you'll hear is going left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. We'll hear it one more time. Just like it's kind of like a echoey kick drum and it's short. So and again, no effects on it. You know, when things are done well, you don't have to do too much, right?